welcome everybody. Welcome Wayne. Wayne. Just a quick intro. It's lovely and warm again in Evesham. Bit cloudy now, but yeah. So we seem to be doing a lot more live stream now, and this one's going to be another great garage tour. So I'm just going to put you straight over to Wayne. He's called Bizzle. Bizzle. He's called Bizzle.
Where is it? Here. Oh, there we go.
There we go. I will ask him why. He will explain why he's called Bizzle at the end of it. And
it's a long nickname. For me, as always, not as interesting story as nicknames should be. But yeah, so I'm sitting in my car, and thank you very much, John, for having me on. It's really nice to kind of spread the love across YouTube channels and Facebook groups and everything else. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Not a problem. So tell us what you sat in and what you've been doing with it.
Yeah, so I am currently sat in a Raw Striker. It's on a 2009 plate. I'm still trying to find the history. So winding back, I bought the car a couple of years ago from a gent who didn't know much about it. I've owned a kit car, a Raw Striker, for 10 years previous to that. I generally know my way around kit cars and Raw Strikers. So I wanted a particular Raw Striker, but it was basically, do I modify and build up the blue one, which I had, or kind of sell it and then buy something else?
I saw that you'd had a blue one, and then I looked at the later pictures. I thought you've either changed the colour, and then I realised the engine was different, everything was different. So yeah, then I kind of knew.
Yeah. So I decided to sell it and buy another one. And so I've had this for a couple of years. And I generally do a lot of track days. I don't really use it on the road, although that's something I might start doing. And so it's just about me on track. So I have a channel, N Bizz-Kits, down here again somewhere. And so I've been covering kind of me and my escapades in my car, trying to get it running, trying to do bits and improve bits. But basically, I bought the car completely blind from someone. So I didn't know which gearbox, which diff, what the engine spec was. So just slowly learning about it. And the latest kind of thing is that I took it to Northampton Motorsport for a rolling road because I have a supercharger on it, which has been modified. So we needed to get that mapped.
Supercharge, yeah? Was that already on it, or was that something you put on yourself?
No, so it was already on there. So the spec of the car, sorry, we went off on. So it's a 2009 ex-factory Raw Striker, apparently. It's got a Toyota 4Age 20 valve silver top engine.
Strong engines. Yeah, very strong engines.
I wanted the 4Age in particular. I think they're great engines. And this one has got aftermarket pistons in it, a lightened flywheel, Omex ECU, and then it's got a Roadtrek supercharger on it as well. And in one of my previous episodes, if anyone watching goes and takes a look, you'll see that I took the supercharger off. I took it up to UK Supercharger Repairs. Dave at UK Supercharger Repairs kindly also let me go in, have a look around his workshop. So as part of N Bizz-Kits, I did an interview with him and a workshop tour. We talked about superchargers. We talked a lot about superchargers. And then got that back, got that fitted, took it to Northampton Motorsport again, and I blew my clutch up.
You're joking.
Pardon?
You're joking.
No, yeah, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, it was not great news. So that was a bit of a tough day for me. So since then, I've got it back, taken the engine out, changed the clutch, checked a few things on the gearbox, and kind of did some rust repair, put the engine back in, and now I need to finish that off before the rolling road again.
Yeah. Do you any idea what power you made out of it on the rolling road, or did you not get that far?
So it didn't do a full power run at all. When the clutch slipped, it was pushing just over 200. I'm aiming for 300. Anything above 250, I'll be happy with.
I was going to say anything above 250 is going to be good news. Yeah.
Ideally 270, and I could potentially be pushing up to 300. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we can do a quick walk around of your car, if you can move the camera, or if not, we can always set up another one.
Bear with me, what?
Because Raw Striker, they're now owned by MK, aren't they? They bought all the rights to it, including the fulcrum, I think it was.
So I'd like to see MK support the Raw more, but obviously they've got a lot on at the moment. So, they're not going to.
It's frozen a little bit there. Bizzle, let's just see if he come back.
If you come back, yeah, back, yeah,
yeah. There you go. You're back
your
again,
visuals are not coming up.
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah, hopefully MK support Raw going forward. That would be really good if they do. I was glad to see MK buy Raw. I'm a little bit disappointed at the moment the amount of work they've been doing with the chassis. It'd be really nice to see them support it properly, but hopefully they will. They're just obviously busy people. So so this is.
Well, let's have a tour round. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the engine and the car as it stands. So shall I do a tour of the garage, or do you want to see the car, or both, or what are we feeling?
Both. Go for both. You've got a...
Okay, all right.
You're working in a single garage, but you've got some tools, some handy kit there as well, I noticed. I've just got a box of spanners and a drill.
Yeah, so obviously I build stuff over years, tools and things like that. It's a tiny garage. I reckon I could probably touch both sides at the same time. So it's a tiny little prefab single garage. My trailer only just fits in here when it's in here. So I've currently got a whopping great engine stand in here as well because the engine's been out. And I built a workbench, just collected Halford's tools over the years. And underneath there's some power tools and stuff. But yeah, so Raw Strikers in particular, they got inboard suspension. Where are we? Inboard suspension here. Shocks are in the middle. This has got race leader brakes with aluminium hubs on a 15-inch Team Dynamics wheels. Currently got very old R888Rs. I need to get some new tyres. Bits and bobs.
Tyres can go hard over the years.
Oh, these are terrible. These are terrible. They're literally... as soon as I can get them off, the better. Bits missing off the front here, but there'll normally be a big intercooler here. If anyone that's seen my channel will know, but if not, take a look because I do a lot of 3D printer. I'm an engineer by trade. I design things for a living, normally medical devices, strangely enough. So a lot smaller and intricate, but I can supersize that for car parts. So I've got a 3D printer at home, and it means I can print things like this bracket here, which is for the intercooler. So that's completely custom and just has a couple of holes to just drop in some lugs. That intercooler is from a Renault 5 GT Turbo randomly, but it works for me.
Yeah.
Oil cooler, obviously custom plenum. This is supercharged, as I said here. So thank you very much for UK Superchargers for refurbing this for me. Dave really knows his stuff and he's a good gent. So other than that, what's with the engine? That's pretty much it. Gas golds, nothing else particularly special. OMX ECU, as I said before. Battery is up here. In my previous car, it was relocated to the rear of the car, but this one's got a big old battery here. Really nice seats that come with the car. Obviously embroidered. I can't remember the name of the company. I should know it, but I'm sorry. But yeah, nice seats. Although I think this one might have been broken while I'm on track, which is a bit frustrating. So I'm going to have to check that out. I found out the other day, luckily, as I said, I bought this car blind. And it turns out that I've got a BGH GearTech gearbox in my car.
Wow.
I thought it was a standard type. No, it had a drain plug in the bottom and stamped on the bottom of the gearbox. And so I phoned up BGH and said, I think I got one of your gearboxes. And it turns out that I've got an E8 close ratio 5-speed gearbox, which is about $2,000 worth of gearbox.
It might be cheap. Yeah, it might be cheap.
No, so that was a lovely little surprise. So at least that means now I've changed the clutch. The gearbox is now not going to go. It's probably going to be the diff or the drive shafts.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You should be right with that gearbox. That gearbox will handle that power. That's probably why he's put it in. Yeah.
Well, the car was a funny old spec. It had the supercharger was quite low powered and it wasn't mapped very well for a factory car. So either someone's fiddled with it or it just maybe wasn't set up for a while. But it was only making probably 180 horsepower, which is the same as my Yeah, my naturally aspirated one was doing 160 something. So with the supercharger, you would expect a lot more. So that's the whole thing was, well, let's get the supercharger off and checked. Then I thought, well, let's get it upgraded to a more modern version. And then the clutches. Yeah, it's kind of snowballed really. So so this is and then my garage further down, I've got bits because I bought a new flywheel and clutch, which this is the old stuff actually, an old light flywheel which will be going on eBay soon, and bits of trailer because arches broke on the trailer. Oils, torque wrenches, track day boxes because I've pre-prepped track day boxes. They've been raided a little bit because I've been working in the garage so long, but I normally have boxes ready to go that I can just chuck in the back of the tow car and just take.
That's a good idea. So you don't have to get up. You don't have to get up like, I don't know, stupid o'clock in the morning and then start packing. You just grab your boxes and go. Yeah,
exactly. So I've got one that's got basically all tools, so that's generally quite empty, and then I fill it with absolutely everything. And then there's another one that's got spare spark plugs in there, spare Jubilee clips, blue roll, and then just loads of spare tube, like oil line, fuel line, because I'm pretty handy, and if I'm on a track day and something goes wrong, there's a good chance I'll be able to fix it, to be honest. I've got myself out of serious troubles in the past while at a track day. So I'm pretty handy when I need to be, and I've got like Halford's sets, tools and things, and I take spare oil and all that jazz. So really that's me and my garage.
Brilliant. So you also do a lot of filming with not so much manufacturers. I know you'll be doing some probably going forward, but you do a lot of filming at track days, and didn't you say you've just been to Brands Hatch as well and that kind of thing? So it's great.
Yeah, so
I've not seen it.
Yeah, so I like to try and keep it quite varied. So as I said, I'm an engineer, so I like to keep things techie. So like I did a thing the other day about this equation here, and like thermal expansion of why do you heat up a bolt to take it off? Oh yeah, you're doing that. Yeah, take it off. But I also do track days. So I met some people at a track day today. I've done more technical stuff about how-to guides about trying to keep your car cool. I'm going to be doing ones on 3D printing. I've got ones interviews with car owners at Superchargers UK. All sorts of stuff, really. I want to keep it varied. I want to keep it entertaining. And the key thing as well is we do short, so they're only 15-minute long episodes. So it's not like a big hour or 40-minute long episode. Yeah. It's just a quick, this is me, this is what we've been up to. We did start off doing them weekly, but we're probably going to have to slow that up soon, unfortunately. But if we can do one every 2 weeks, I think, then I don't expect the cadence to drop any more than that. So fortnightly. So some of them more technical than others. Some of them are like the one that we've got coming up and filming today was superb. So as I said, it's an interview with Dave Woodall, who runs
Brands Hatch
GP Day. Brands Hatch, that's correct. Met some people that are going into racing with their Radical. Met a couple of caterer owners. It was great. You always meet lovely people on track days. Always characters. Always interesting to talk to. Went and spent the day down there, and they've got an evening session on, but I can't spend all day and night down there, unfortunately.
They were running the full track as well at Brands as well, weren't they?
Say that again, sorry?
They were running the full track at Brands Hatch as well, not just the short course.
GP circuit, so they only do that probably half a dozen times a year. So again, it's quite a special opportunity to go down there and see that.
I'm being a bit cynical here, but I think they only run that GP circuit because down the bottom end of that long straight, there was a new housing development they put in, and people that moved in all then complained about the noise, and that's why they can only run it a certain number of times a year. Is, in my opinion, what happened. But you're right. It
is due to noise. They only, the council or whatever only say to them, you can only use this circuit. It's more than what you think. It's like 20 odd times a year. But if you think about a race weekend, might be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 3 straight away. And they need it for historic racing. They need it for British superbikes. They'll need it for British touring cars. They will need it for, many other prestigious events that they put on there. And once you take all of them away, that doesn't leave many opportunities for other people like Joe Bloggs to go on a track day. So there's only probably 5 or 6 of them, and they're probably split evenly between cars and bikes. So, so that's a bit of a shame you can't do it more often, but it is due to noise. It's due to people who decided to buy a house next to a racetrack and then moan that there's a racetrack next door.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, it's just, I would love to. You know what I mean? If I bought a house next to a racetrack, I'd love it. I'll put a big balcony on the top, so I could just sit out there with a glass of beer and some sandwiches or whatever, and just watch the racing from the top. I'd love it. Absolutely love it.
And for me as well, but I mean, we're motorsport people, right? So for me, I imagine it being the peak of summer on British touring cars, and there's 80,000 people at Brands Hatch, and at the end of your garden you've got a barbecue going and some chairs set up, and you think, I'll just watch some of the best racing in Europe at the end of my garden today. Yeah, that would be nice. Exactly. Have a barbecue with some friends over and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. That would be my idea as well. But yeah, and that's why I like, because you've been to Kitfest at Santa Pod, and Santa Pod, I don't think they have any. Well, they don't have any noise restrictions when you look at the nitro dragsters going down and the jet cars. Blimey.
No. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere, isn't it, Santa Pod?
Yeah. So, but yeah, the sound of those the nitro cars and the funny cars going down, and the jet cars, and the smell as well. But it's also, if you sat in the stands, when you get 2 of those nitro cars side by side on the starting grid, you can feel the whole ground shaking.
It's incredible. Yeah, I haven't seen too many jet cars, and I think funny cars are even louder. I haven't really had the opportunity for a long time to see it, just because it's a long way away for me. And if it's raining, they don't do it.
No.
So it's a long way to go to risk, just standing there waiting for it to dry out for a day.
Yeah, because I was following. I've got a mate of mine who works for the team that were running Red Victor, which still is the fastest street legal road car.
All right.
They did a couple of trial runs at Santa Pod. They hired the track, but the conditions weren't great. So to actually get the world record, they actually went out. I think it was Dubai. They went out to, and they'd got special permission from the Prince or whatever it was of Dubai to run it into the night and do whatever they wanted. But they have still got it's called Red Victor. There's some great videos out there. I'll see if I can dig out a link and put it up. But yeah, it's quite amusing actually, because the Americans used to have that record. It's the fastest street legal car. It was he built his in a shed in Wolverhampton, still road legal. He still drives it around the streets, but he runs it what's called wet, so it's still got oil in it, it's still got fuel in it. Whereas the Americans, I wouldn't say they cheat. Well, they are, because they run theirs dry. So, do you know what I mean? And it's only designed to do one run. And after that, there's no more petrol in it. There's no oil in it. They don't run it with any oil, and they have to tow it back and then do a full rebuild on it. So they do that to keep the weight down. Whereas,
right, a little bit of cheating if you can shave 30 litres of fuel throughout the car. Well,
exactly. So it's not. They say it's street legal, but you can't really drive it anywhere on the streets because it's dry. It's not wet. Whereas Red Victor, there are just search for Red Victor on YouTube, and you'll see him driving it around the streets in. And
what car is it?
A Vauxhall. It's an old Vauxhall Victor.
All right.
He's been through several. Been through several cars, and this is the one that he ended up with. And it literally is. There's no massive well, there are some obviously modifications to the engine and things like that. If you're into drag racing, brilliant watch. If you're not, it will just bore you. I
do prefer things to go around in a track rather than a straight line. But I fire and love all motorsport, really.
Yeah, because this is what people were saying as well. That they will say, "Well, isn't drag racing a bit boring?" And then I try to explain that actually it's very technical, because you have to creep up to the starting line, and then you get your yellow light at the top to say, yeah, you're staged. That's what's called stage. Well, you go to the pre-stage and then you get staged. So that means you're ready to go. And then you have to wait for the other person, if they're behind you, to then stage as well. So you get all the yellows across the top. And then there's a random countdown. It's not like minutes or anything like that, but it's seconds. But it's a random number of seconds. And you get these greens flashing on. And on the last green, you gun it. If you go too early and cross that beam, it will be automatic disqualification. So the whole idea is to get which is why you'll see at Santa Pod, if you've ever been, when they set off, you'll see a number on the top of the gantry. You can see it, and actually in the background picture, and that is that person's reaction time. So if it's like 0.5 of a second or 0.2 of a second, so it's very important to get a very good reaction time off the line. And then it's obviously you just got it after that, and you need to get a good. You win a drag race in the 0 to 60 foot times, which is what everybody concentrates on, because technically you can get that the highest top speed over the line, but you've actually lost it because your ET time is less, if that makes sense, and that's because your car's probably accelerated quicker towards the back end of the track than at the start. So you're losing time at the start. All of a sudden, whatever, nitro or whatever kicks in, you get a bit of a boost. So you get you do get a higher top speed over the line, but you've lost it because you weren't quick enough in the first 60 foot or you know what I mean? So when you start looking at it, it does get quite technical. And when you start talking to these drag boy racers about, their setups, and you see some of the cars are angled down, so they're very low at the front and higher at the back, and that's all to do with about transferring the weight. And they're running. They always said to us, drop your rear tyres down to 12 psi, and that's on a 7. They're running even less than that. When you look at the top fuel dragsters, when they come up to the line, their tyres actually look flat, and that's because when they boat it, the centrifugal forces force the tyre, and the tyre will go from that to that within a couple of seconds, and boom, they're off. So yeah, that's enough about drag racing. It's probably boring everybody, but yeah.
The tyres are also fascinating because what happens is the hub rotates and it actually transfers a lot of that initial movement and energy not into slip. So if they pump the tyres up, what would happen is the fast acceleration of the wheel would just break traction on the wheels. So what they do is they let the tyre pressure down, and they've got really big walls. They'll have an 18-inch rim and a 50-inch tyre or something, and they've got really big rubber. And so as that rotates, it builds up elastic, it transfers that into elastic energy within the rubber, and then that works like an elastic band and basically cushions, but also still transfers that energy back into rotational energy. But instead of coming from the hub, it now comes from the outer rim of the tyre, and so it's like an additional capital.
Yeah.
And then the tyre grows, which changes the gearing, right? Because you've gone from a small tyre to a big tyre. So if they can allow that cushion, allow that to happen, then I suppose it stops things breaking, but actually it works out as a faster lap time as well. So, and there are other things about rubber composites and, working better when they're elastic and stuff. So some of that, as an engineer, you can kind of just look at and go, oh yeah, I can kind of see how that would go and what I would prefer to do.
Yeah. So what have you got coming up? Because you've got some more videos you're going to be releasing on your channel shortly, yeah?
Sure. So we've got possibly a little short about Monaco, because I went to Monaco recently. I didn't watch any racing. It was a normal day. It was part of a family holiday, actually. But maybe a little, what would you do if you visit Monaco? So where to go and what to see and things like that. And some of the cars that I saw, so lots of Ferraris, lots of Bugattis, lots of Bentleys and Rolls Royces, and beautiful yachts. So that's an episode in the sidelines. Today, filming at Brands Hatch, that's definitely one episode. Coming up as well, me back in the garage, putting the engine back in, and then after this, I'll probably be working in the garage, and that'll be connecting everything back up, checking everything before the rolling road, getting that ready. The rolling road will definitely be an episode. So, my journey up there, what did the day go like? What were the final facts and figures of the day? Hopefully I get a car which is reliable, repeatable, and produces good power. That would be amazing away from that. And then going.
This is what we found about rolling road tunes, and it's. I always say to people, to get the best out of any engine, get it rolling road tuned. It's not massively expensive, but people just either don't bother or just forget about it. And ours has been rolling road tuned, and you got another. Probably like yours, we got another 20 horsepower because we changed everything. We changed the air filter, we changed the exhaust, and if you're still expecting that engine to run the same from the ECU as it used to be when it was in the original car, it will still run, but you're not getting the best out of it.
No, yeah. So it's a very different setup from the previous map because. And again, I covered this in previous episodes of N Bizz-Kits, but the intercooler got changed. I've got different injectors. The supercharger's been upgraded. The fuel pump and stuff has been checked and reconditioned. I'm going to be getting some work done to the exhaust as well. So the car is completely different. So you can't, and the map is it's an Omex 600, which is quite a basic ECU. It's aftermarket, but it's not intelligent. It's not. It can't take a wideband lambda input and adapt to the air fuel ratio. Basically, it's got a 3D or 4D map, and at this rev range, with this much load, with this much throttle position, this is how much fuel you put in, and that's why it's really important, because if any of them change, the car is not going to be running optimally, and it might just be the MPG's a bit bad, or it's down on a few horsepower. But if you don't check, you don't know. And so that's, for me, I'm taking this on track, and hopefully I'll be getting it MOT'd and taking it on the roads. And it makes a difference. It does. It smooths out the rev range. They meticulously go over the car and make sure that it's running. And it's a safe environment to really rag the engine hard and just know that if you did that on track or on the road, it's going to be safe. It's not going to suddenly lean out and blow piston rings or something.
Exactly. So yeah.
I think it's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right as well. What we found, it was much more drivable because you get a nice flat torque curve. You know, it may have been all over the place, and then you're like this in the car, and it's, you know, you go to accelerate, and 1 minute it'll be going way, and next minute it'll be backing off and going again. But yeah, definitely makes them more drivable as well.
Yeah, so I'm quite keen to get that done because. As I said, then it'll be an MOT, and I've got 2 young children, but they're just getting to the age now where they don't need boosters. So my pipeline dreams is this moment when I take either my son or my daughter out, you know, on a Sunday morning and go for a drive for the first time in my car. That's going to be a magical moment because they both love my car. They both like cars generally, and loud things. So to go out in my car, Daddy's car, you know, would be incredible. So
brilliant.
Really looking forward to that.
I know when I first took my 2 sons out in ours, obviously one at a time because it's only a 2-seater, they both independently, when they came back and got out, they both independently said to me, "Dad, never sell that car." When we bought, you know, like you, we bought ours, we didn't build it, and for people buying a car, it can be quite a steep learning curve. If you're not used to basic mechanics, and ours was a bike engine, that's even steeper learning curve potentially. But yeah, no, just love it.
I'm quite surprised the amount of people that either own kit cars or some other track day cars, and they're not spanner people. They don't know too much about tools and cars and things like that, and they buy it and just hope that it's going to keep on working. But you do need to know what's going on with cars. I think especially for a kit car owner, there's just so many things which everyone's different. So if something doesn't quite work or fit, you need to be able to fix it.
Brilliant.
Even on track days, it's the same. You know, something happens on a track day, you need to be able to diagnose and get the tools to hand and be able to fix that as quick as you can. Otherwise, you're just wasting your day.
Exactly. Yeah, brilliant. Right, it's been brilliant talking to you. We've been chatting away for nearly half an hour. Been brilliant talking to you. I'm looking forward to. I'm going to go through your channel again because I know you mentioned some which I've missed, so I'm going to go and catch up on those. We'll look out for your Brands Hatch because I love Brands Hatch. It's one of the best tracks, I think. They no longer have the Grand Prix there, but so I'll be watching out for that one. That'll be coming up shortly. And if you're
in a few weeks, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. If you're at Newark, I'll catch up with you there as well.
Yeah, going to try to get up to Newark if I can, especially if my car passes the rolling road. Passes as in doesn't explode or cause any more problems. Yeah, so hopefully I'll catch up with you at Newark and anyone else that's watching. And yeah, take a look at Bitsy and Biscuits, subscribe, like, all that jazz. So, and thank you again for your time, John. Much appreciated.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, just stay on the line, but and I'll tell you why afterwards. Because I'll end the recording, but I won't say goodbye. I'll just say, be seeing you. Catch you soon.
Yeah, you need to do a download or something, don't you?
Yeah.